This is a PS5 controller that has been water damaged, and today I'm challenging myself to repair it with basic tools to show that not all repairs need to be performed by professionals. So the task for today is to fix a PS5 controller which has been damaged due to liquid. I suspect that some sort of sticky liquid got into it, as the outer shell is quite sticky. I'm hoping that this is a case of just opening up the controller and giving it a good clean, but as it is liquid, there is always a chance that something has been shorted out in the process. The thing that worries me at the minute is that half of the controller's buttons do not work, so who knows what the problem is. Anyways, enough talking, let's get this controller opened and see if we can repair it. If anybody is interested in specifics, this is a BDM30 model. Taking these things apart is fairly easy. I opted to use an iFixit guide as they have very high quality images and they're usually very detailed. There's 4 screws on the outer shell, 2 being under the bumper buttons and 2 being under the trim piece. After removing the battery and battery holder, there's a few ribbon cables to release. These are responsible for the 2 triggers and the touchpad. Since these are working parts at the minute, I'm not too worried about inspecting them for damage. Before we can lift the board out, there's 8 wires stopping us. These I think are for the vibration motors. For some reason Sony opted to solder these in instead of using ribbon cables, meaning we need to break out the soldering iron to disconnect them. Today's video is sponsored by JLC PCB. JLC PCB is the cheapest and best way to get your PCBs printed professionally. They offer lots of customization on PCBs, including the colour of the silkscreen, thickness of the boards, and lots of other things that you need to make your PCB perfect. They offer a top-notch quality service at low, affordable prices. They also offer 3D printing and CNC machining, making them the perfect solution for all of your project's needs. Go to the link in the description below to get your PCBs professionally printed today. Big thanks to JLC PCB for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. The first thing I'm checking is this connector here, as it makes contact with a ribbon cable to send button press signals to the motherboard. It looks a little bit black to me, probably not as shiny as I'd like, but this could just be a design thing from Sony. It didn't particularly look like dirt to me, so I'm not too worried about this part. 2 more screws release the whole middle frame from the front plastic housing. We need to remove this to access the buttons and the button membranes, but most importantly, the button flex cable. The inside of the controller wasn't really as dirty as I expected it to be, but any sort of dirt, as you can see on this footage, is not what you want for these types of connectors. If that dirt gets in between the buttons and the flex cable, there's a chance button presses won't get registered, which is my theory to what's happening here. I removed all of the buttons and the touchpad as I wanted to clean all of the plastic pieces in some hot soapy water. There was a considerable amount of dirt that came off these pieces, specifically the thumbsticks. I imagine this is due to the controller not being used whilst it was broken and just collecting dust. Luckily the soap and water seemed to do the trick, and I also used some isopropyl alcohol to remove some of the more stubborn marks and scuffs. After this, I let all the parts dry for 24 hours. The last thing I want to do is to put something back together and short something myself because of some water residue. For the electronic parts that I obviously couldn't clean with water, I used some 99% alcohol and a toothbrush. I gave the whole controller a scrub down with this, including the button ribbon cable and any other contacts that I could find. After this, it was simply just the process of putting the controller back together. I do praise Sony for making these controllers fairly easy to repair. They mostly use the same screws for the whole controller and there isn't many cases of adhesive being used. Of course, my only complaint is that the rumble motor cables needed to be soldered back on. This gets a little bit annoying, especially as I just cleaned the controller and then immediately needed to add flux to the motherboard, which is a very sticky substance. I wasn't very confident that this was going to work, to be honest, but after semi-putting the controller back together, I plugged it into my old console, and it prompted me to do a software update. And to my surprise, it actually worked. I guess this was a case of just dirty contacts. We got really lucky here that nothing was shorted out, as doing so could have resulted in needing a new ribbon cable, or even a new mainboard, which could have got very expensive. But it turns out that instead of this thing needing a repair, it just needed a good clean. In some way, I'm sort of disappointed that this process wasn't more difficult and interesting to do. Anyways, a repair is a repair, and the controller is ready to be used and enjoyed again. Once again, big thanks to JLC PCB for sponsoring this video, and of course thank you for watching. If you like videos like this, there are plenty more on my channel, and much more coming, so make sure to subscribe, and give this video a like, or give it a dislike if you didn't like it. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.